Welcome back to Wired-Tec. We've been on quite a journey, tracing the history of AI from its earliest concepts to the absolute explosion we're seeing today. But with that explosion comes a ton of hype, a lot of noise, and frankly, some big misunderstandings. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all of that and tackle the biggest myths about what AI really is.
So let's just dive right in with the big one. Is the AI we have today a sentient mind like you see in the movies, maybe secretly plotting world domination? Or is it just really clever math? It's a huge question, and with all the wild headlines flying around, it's no wonder that a lot of us are getting a little confused between the science fiction and the reality.
So, to get to the truth, we've put together a little myth-busting checklist. We're going to tackle 4 of the biggest ones. First, what I call the ghost in the machine, the whole consciousness idea. Then, the perfect judge, the belief that AI is totally objective. After that, the job killer, the fear of mass unemployment, and finally, the data sponge, the idea that more data always makes a better AI.
All right, let's start with the one that feels pretty much every sci-fi movie ever made. This idea that AI is either already alive or is right on the verge of waking up and becoming conscious.
So the myth is that AI has real feelings, right? That it has desires, it experiences joy or sadness. But the reality, well, it's a lot less Hollywood. At its heart, modern AI is just incredibly advanced math and pattern recognition. It is an absolute master at sifting through billions of data points to predict what should come next. Now, that can look a lot like understanding, but it's a simulation. There are no actual feelings or intentions under the hood.
At the end of the day, AI's intelligence is all about function, not feeling. It learns from whatever data we give it and then performs tasks based on that training. You know, a great way to think about it is like a parrot. You can teach a parrot to say, "I love you," and it might mimic the sounds perfectly. But does it have any idea what love is? Of course not. AI is kind of the same. It's processing words and concepts without any of the genuine emotional experience that we have. Okay, so that brings us to our second myth. And the logic kind of follows, right? If AI doesn't have feelings or personal opinions, then it must be the perfect objective decision maker. The belief is that since it's just running on pure data, it's free from all the messy human biases that cloud our judgment.
But here's the huge catch. AI is basically a mirror that we've held up to ourselves. It learns from the gigantic ocean of text and images that humans have created on the internet. And that means, along with all the useful stuff, it learns all of our biases, our stereotypes, and our societal flaws. It isn't born objective, it inherits our subjectivity.
And this isn't just a theory, there's startling evidence for it. Research from Stanford's Human-Centered AI Institute found that these large language models, the tech behind things like ChatGPT, consistently reproduce some of our worst stereotypes. For example, they were found to associate negative words with Black individuals, to link women with the humanities more than with science and tech, and to favor men for leadership roles. The AI isn't being malicious, it's just spitting back the patterns it found in our own data.
It all comes down to a simple, powerful, and very old truth in computer science: garbage in, garbage out. If the data you feed the system is biased, if it's garbage, then the answers you get out of that system will be biased too. The AI can't magically be fairer than the world it learned from.
Now for a fear that, let's be honest, hits pretty close to home for a lot of us. The idea that AI is the ultimate job killer, and that it's just a matter of time before it automates everyone out of a job. The truth, though, is a lot more nuanced. AI is proving to be incredibly good at automating specific, repetitive tasks inside of a job. But it really struggles to replace an entire job, which usually requires a mix of creativity, critical thinking, and social skills. That's why, instead of a replacement, people are starting to see it as a co-pilot, a tool that actually helps us do our jobs even better.
So what exactly is an AI copilot? Well, think of it as a system that's designed to work with you, not instead of you. It's meant to handle the tedious, boring parts of your job. Imagine a lawyer using it to sift through thousands of legal documents in seconds. That frees up the human lawyer to focus on the things that matter, building the case strategy and talking to the client. It's a real partnership.
And the data completely backs this up. A major study found that when AI assistance was rolled out in a workplace, the productivity of all the workers shot up by an average of 14%. And what's really fascinating is that the newer, lower-skilled workers saw the biggest improvements, which actually helped to level the playing field.
All right, let's move on to our final myth for today, the idea of the AI as a simple data sponge. This is the belief that to make an AI smarter and better, all you need to do is just keep pouring more and more data into it.
But as we've already hinted at, it's just not that simple. Look, having huge data sets is absolutely crucial for training modern AI, no doubt about it.
But the quality of that data is way more important than the sheer quantity. You can have all the data in the world, but if it's bad data, you're just going to end up with a bad AI.
And using poor quality data has some really serious consequences. It leads to wrong answers, it makes those biases we talked about even worse, and it can cause the AI to hallucinate, which is basically a fancy term for when the AI just confidently makes stuff up. In fact, there's a growing worry that as the internet fills up with AI-generated content, future models trained on that data could actually get worse over time.
So after busting these 4 huge myths, what's the real picture of AI shaping up to be? Let's quickly break down the most important takeaways. So let's recap. First, AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but it is not a conscious mind. Second, it's a mirror that reflects the data we give it, flaws and all. Third, it's looking much more like a co-pilot that's going to help us at work, not replace us. And finally, the future of AI's success completely depends on the quality of the data we train it on.
Understanding this reality is so important for navigating the future. But it all leads to one huge lingering question. We've established that AI isn't conscious now, but could it be one day? What happens when we finally get to artificial general intelligence, or AGI? Well, some of the top experts in the world actually have a prediction for when an AI might become smarter than every single human on Earth combined. So when is it? You'll have to find out in the next and final part of our series on the history of AI. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to make sure you catch the grand finale, do us a favor and subscribe to Wired-Tec and hit that like button. We'll see you then.